professional terms about the function, about the constraint. So the system requirement, normally for system engineers, client engineers like UI, this like server, architecture, this like framework, software developer, this is programmer, programmer. So this is your team and your team. Any questions about this? Two types of requirement. One is a user requirement, normally for customer to read, for the contract to bid. And the second one is system requirement. It's normally for development team to organize your system. And we take 10 minutes for a rest. We have a break. Okay, everyone, let's start class. Okay, back again.
Okay,
Now we'll
Lasha.
talk about the functional and the non-functional requirement. This is important. You should list the functional and the non-functional requirement in your version 1 documentation about the requirement. I make a mistake. The third week is next week is third week. You should everyone submit version 1 requirement to the Ronnie, the TA. In the version 1, you do not need to finish all the aspects of this requirement. You only needed to do some about it, not the complete one, the version 1. Next week, before Wednesday, before Wednesday, next week, submit version 1. The template I already sent to you. The functional requirement is a statement of functions that the system should provide. How the system should react to the particular input, and how the system should behave in particular situation. This is a functional requirement. And the non-functional requirement is constraint on the functions offered by the system, such as a timing constraint, the constraint of development process, the standard latency, quality, capacity, and etc. The functional requirement describe the functionality or system service. That means what the software can do. What the software can do. For example, the software should provide the login. Okay, login. Login, you input. Input is a username, password. Okay, this is login, and it also should provide logout, and it also should provide select course, scoring, arrange course, take a course, arrange the classroom, and many functions. This is a functional requirement. It depends on the software type and expected user and the type of system where software is used. Like the project I sent to you. The environment actually is a internet environment. So this is the type of your software. You can consider maybe BS, maybe CS, like this. And the functional user requirement may be high-level statement of what the system should do. You can say the system can have log function, input, password, and username, but the functional system requirement should describe the system service in detail. What this means in detail? In detail, you should give the table here. Function F1 name is login, like this, login, and the precondition is you must be student, have the student ID here, and the input is like username, password, and output is like the authentication. This is the system requirement looks like. It's like a table here, tabular. Let's give an example here. I'll give an example here. This example is about the library system. Normally, this library system, every university can have a library system. When you become student in the university, you can use the library system by input your student ID and student password. You can use the library system. A library system normally provides a single interface, single to multiple, okay, multiple database. What this database mean? Like it can access to IEEE Explore database. It can to nature database. It can access to science database. It can access to DB LP database. So there are multiple database in different libraries. Users can search for is a function here. F1, download, F2, print, F3, function 3. These articles for personal studies. Okay, very simple requirement here. And we will give you some functional requirement for user requirement functional. Functional requirement, functional one, the user shall be able to search as all of the initial set database or can select a subset from it. It's like here there is a blank. You can input the title here, the article you want to search, title here. And here there is an option here. Option is like this. You can click option, then it will draw down. Here is IEEE, here is ICM, here's nature, here is science, or you can select all. I can select all to search all of the database. This is the first function mean. And let's see the function 2. The system shall provide appropriate viewers for the user to read the document in the document storage. Okay, what is appropriate viewers? I can give you some example here, and this is viewer. Let me explore attribute explore. When I open it, and okay. Not this one. Okay, the latency is not good, okay, for this one. I'm going to, this viewer means to provide you like PDF viewer. You can view the document, view the article online. So it's appropriate viewers. It's not clear for here. So I marked this purple color here because this requirement is not clear, so not that clear. And the next one, F3, this is a functional requirement. Every order shall be allocated to a unique identifier. which the user should be able to copy the account permanent storage area. This means that if you buy some article from the website, from the database, it will be a generated order. Then it will have an order ID. This is one of the functional requirement. And for this user functional requirement, there are some imprecision. This problem arises when requirements are not precisely stated. Ambiguous requirements may be interpreted in different ways by developer and user. Like the first one, you should provide an input blank. You can implement What is a PDF? Okay, you can look at here. This is one kind of views. It directly show on the website, okay? Section 1, Section 2, you see? Section 2, Section 3, this is article. I can read it from the website, and this is one kind of viewer. And the other is when you click here, okay, this is another kind of viewer. This is PDF viewer. Which one is good? We cannot decide it. We must negotiate. We must communicate with the customer to decide which one they want. Okay, so the more clear you define in your requirement document, the more good, more precision you can get from the final software.
So, Lars, for the third week, you want us to make a document, yes?
In your document, you should describe more precisely, okay?
Okay, so
Like this. This one is
okay.
called an online PDF reader, okay? This one.
I understand, but just to make it more clear. So
More
we need to
clear.
make like, yeah, I just wanted to make more clear so I have a big picture of what will I do.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The good thing is you provide the picture. That's good, okay? Not only the language, you provide the picture. That's why I ask you to provide the prototype interface. Remember?
Yeah, I know, but it's about the topic and the content. I just want to ask you now about that. So for
Good.
that being said,
Mhm.
so the PDF we are gonna make. So it's just a requirement specifications of our final project of the thing that we are doing. So for the next few weeks, we will be doing some presentations and submissions for this PDF. And in the final week, we'll be giving you the exe file of our project. Yes.
Yes.
So there is no need to submit any coding now.
For the version 1 of requirement, you do not need to submit code.
I see. I see. So yeah.
Only
So
the
you can
word.
just
Only the word.
okay. Thank you.
Only the word.
Just
Don't worry.
drive this one.
The first version is very, very easy. Okay, very,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
easy.
It's okay. It's okay. But it's about
Just clearly state the requirement. More clear, the more good.
I understand, but it's not just about your subject because there is a lot of other subjects. We got confused of what they said. It seems like all teachers are asking us of doing the same thing, so we need just a bit more explanation on every subject.
Yes,
That's
yes.
what am I asking you. And one more thing that is, we're not that professional of doing website apps, but we will try our best to get your expectations. Thanks.
No. You don't need to develop a website. As I said, you can use a
I thought
desktop.
I have the
Okay.
idea of it being a website because you said it needs.
In the future
It's
class,
like
in the design, and in the implementation, I can recommend you some framework.
I see. I see. Okay, understood. Understood.
Which one? No, I don't specify particular one. I
Oh,
don't
so
specify
the
particular
topic
one.
is open topic. So the project is open.
Yes, is open topic. This is a project. Only teach you the activity process, requirement, design, implement. Okay. So
Understood.
which framework, what architecture is open? Is open.
Okay, so it's so if we want to develop a website, it's okay. So if we want to develop an app, it's okay. Even if we want to develop an exe file for Windows, it's okay.
It's also okay. Yes, but only
Understood.
command line is not okay. Okay.
Command line. Oh, you mean the thing we used in the previous semester?
Command line is not okay. Okay.
It's okay. We understand.
So Limo ask only document for student managed system requirement. Yes, Limo. For system requirement document, only the word, only the word. Only you come to the third version. Third version is a implementation document that requires the code. Any code, any language you can use. You can use open topic. Yes, open topic. Here, consider the term appropriate views. In the user, they may think special purpose viewer for each different topic document type. But for development interpretation, maybe just provide a text viewer that shows the contents of document. So this will get the problem. This means when you state the requirement one by one, F1, F2, F3, F4, you should you are suggest to do more clear. The more clear, the more good. The more clear, the more good. And the requirement completeness and the consistency. In principle, in theory, requirement should be both complete and consist. Complete means the document should include description of all facilities required. Consistent means there should be no conflict or contradictions in the description of the system facilities. However, in practice, it is impossible to produce a complete and a consistent requirement documentation. What this means? This means when you really do a requirement document, when you finish it, but actually it doesn't finish, it's still incomplete. So that's why I ask you to do the iteration, this term, iteration. Iteration means version 1, version 1.1, version 1.2, version 1.3, version 2, version 2.1. It's like this. It's like this. So during the project process, the requirement document will more complete, more and more complete. This is why you are asked to do the iteration. And how about the non-functional? In the requirement document, you should give the non-functional requirement. Non-functional requirements define system property and constraint, like reliability, response time, storage, and like I/O device capacity, system representation, and etc. Process requirement may also be specified programming language. You should know that programming language is not functional requirement. It is non-functional requirement. Or development method, like XP method, like IJAM method, like rational process, unified process method. We will introduce in the future chapter. Non-functional requirement may be more critical than functional requirement. If this non-functional requirement not met, the system is useless. Like our university selection system, non-functional requirement, it should support 50,000 students online to use. If this non-functional requirement not be met, then you cannot handle all these students to use this system. This is non-functional requirement. Even it's already covered all the functional requirements, it's still useless. Let's have a look at here. The functional. It can divide into like products. This is software itself. Organizational and external. In here, product, it has a usability, efficiency, performance, space, reliability, portability, delivery, and implementation. This one is the implementation is organizational, and the standard is used. And the external, it also includes the interoperability, ethical issues, and some legislative, like privacy, like safety. All of these are non-functional. I can give some non-functional requirement here. Like the library system, that's example. I give you non-functional here. The user interface for library system shall be implemented as a simple HTML without frame or Java applet. Without frame, without Java applet. Only pure HTML. Okay, this is one of the non-functional. Some organizational requirement. The system development process and the deliverable documents shall conform to the process and the deliverable defined in the standard. This standard is a particular standard they defined, okay? Should follow some standard. And the example about the external requirement. The system shall not disclose any personal information about the customer apart from the name, reference number to the operator of the system. This means the administrator of the system cannot see the customer information. This about the privacy. And the goal of the requirement. Normally, we do the requirement document. First, we should give a goal here. Non-functional requirement may be very difficult to state precisely, and in-process requirement may be difficult to verify. So, before we do the non-functional, we should give a goal here, a goal. A goal means you don't need to verify it in detail, but you should close to this goal. Goal means like this, a general intention of user such as easy to use. This is a goal. No matter what method you use, no matter what interface you build, only remember you should close to this goal, easy of use. You can set up many goals in abstract level, like easy to use, like low latency, easy to maintain, easy to update. Okay, abstract level. And when you're doing the non-functional requirement, you are suggested to do verifiable non-functional requirement. What the verifiable means? This means a statement using some measure, okay? Some measure that can be objectively tested. Like latency less than 200 milliseconds. Like capacity greater than 1 TB. When you use this very clear statement, it is easy to test. It is easy to measure. This means a verifiable non-functional requirement. Example is here. A system goal. Very high level, abstract level. The system should be easy to use by experienced controller and should be organized in such a way that user errors are minimized. This is high level. Your non-functional requirements should close to this goal. How to close? Let's see this example here. How to measure, how to be verifiable. Like this one. Experienced controller should be able to use all the system function after a total 2-hour training. 2 hours training. It's easy to be tested, right? It's easy to be measured. After this training, the average number of error made by experienced user should not exceed 2 per day. 2 per day. This 2 per day is easy to be measured. Easy to be measured. This is a good non-functional requirement. Very good. Easy to measure. Can be tested. Then you fulfill this non-functional requirement. That means you are close to system goal. Close to system goal. And beyond this one, I can give you some indexes how to measure the non-functional requirement measure, like speed, the property attribute speed. How to measure the speed? You can use processed transactions per second, user event response time, like latency, the screen refresh time, like you press F5 on your browser, then it will refresh. The refresh time is the speed. You cannot say, okay, the speed should be fast. That's not a good idea. 我在1607还有15分钟，1607啊。And the size, you cannot just simply said the size should be big, so should be large. That is not clear. You should specify like how many megabytes, how many terabytes, how many gigabytes, like this. Greater than. And how many ROM chips you use, And how to measure easy of use? You can use the training time of the client user and the user, how many times you should spend, and the number of help frames. Like if you don't know how to use, you can click the help, then they will record the questions. The less questions, the more easy of use you can reach. Reliability, how to measure the reliability. Some example is like this. The mean time to failure, the system failure, mean time. The probability of unavailability is like maybe 99.99% time is available. Only 0.01% time is unavailable. The rate of failure concurrency is like 1 failure per week, or 1 failure per year. 1 failure per year is like this. Availability is also the same to the probability of unavailability. How to measure the robustness? Robustness here, it means the time to restart after the failure. 我在上课10分钟以后啊。The time to restart after failure. It means your system is running, but some error cased, then your system crashed down. Then how many time it spent to restart again? The short time, the shorter time, the more good robustness. Percentage of event casing the failure, like 1% casing failure is good per year, like this. probability of data corruption and the failure. It's also the robustness. And the last, how to measure the portability. It's like the percentage of target dependent statement. The number of target PC to the other PC. This is a portability. You can, if you do the requirement documentation, you are not suggested to just simply say speed should fast, size should big, easy of use. You should use the clearly statement like this one, And the requirement interaction. The conflicts between different non-functional requirements are very common in a complex system. I'll give you an example here. The first non-functional requirement asks to minimize weight. The number of separate chips in the system should be minimized. But the second non-functional requirement asked to minimize the power consumption, low power chips should be used. These two requirements actually are conflict because using the low power chips may mean that more chips have to be used. And in this situation, you should negotiate. You should balance both of two functional requirements or non-functional requirements. And this will be introduced later. And about the user requirement. User requirements should describe functional and non-functional requirements in such a way that they are understandable. Very important here, understandable by user who do not have the detailed technologies. This means you should not use very hard terms, very hard diagrams into the user requirement, because this user requirement is for customer to read. And the user requirements are defined using natural language or tables or diagrams, as this can be understood by all users. When you do this natural language, you will face some problem here. This top problem actually can be fixed by more detailed statement. But if you do not use a very detailed, very clear statement, you will face the problem. The first one is a lack of clarity. Precision is difficult without making the document difficult to read. And the requirement confusion. This means functional and non-functional requirements tend to be mixed up. So you should clearly distinguish which one is functional, which one is non-functional. And the requirement amalgamation. This means several different requirements may be expressed together. And give you some guidelines about how to do the user requirement. First, you should define or invent a standard format. and use it for all requirements. And when you use a language, you should always keep the language in a consistent way. Like you should use a shell for mandatory requirement. You can use a should for desirable requirements. And you can use a text highlighting to identify key parts of the requirement. Normally for the user requirement, avoid use computer jargon. Computer jargon means this jargon means a professional term. Jargon means a professional term. For user to read, just avoid use this computer jargon. Okay, the time's up. And today we stopped here. After the class, follow the template. You can first try to state functional and non-functional requirements based on the project and the template I already sent to you, everyone. Next Wednesday, before Wednesday, you should submit version 1 to TA, to teaching assistant. And today, we stopped here. Class over, everyone. And I will see you the day after tomorrow, right?
Yes.
The day after tomorrow. This Friday.